Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we are discussing the H. Moser Cie Endeavour Center Second Concept Lime Green. Launched in 2022 in stainless steel, this is a surprisingly refined timekeeper with an extravagant hammered white gold dial and gradient green enamel on top of that. In stainless steel, it's 40 millimeters in diameter by 11.5 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, 47.3 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. When I throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it is a great fit. A welcome companion that's perfectly sized for my wrist, and you can see it fits well. I'd actually recommend it for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. Women could definitely get a lot of mileage out of this and enjoy it. You can also see that it's very flat with a concave bezel. It will easily slide underneath the cuff. Again, my wrist for reference is 16 centimeters in circumference. The timepiece was originally shipped with a kudu leather strap, though this particular hybrid of textile and leather has been fitted. So it's a Moser factory strap, and it features a sort of ballistic nylon on the top with a lot of bolstering, a folded edge, a monotone stitch, and then calfskin leather on the bottom. You can see that it is a Moser factory strap in outstanding condition, matched to the pin buckle, and that includes both polish and satin for handsome detailing. The case is steel, and as you can see, Moser cases are machined and then hand finished. The better to get these wonderful hollows with mirror finish, vertical satination on the case band. The case is nuanced, and you can see the bezel is concave to thin the watch visually. Moser branded, conical crown with knurling and a little bit more of that vertical satination at the mid case. You can see that the crystal has a little bit of a domed camber, and that the watch does include a hacking seconds function. So you can stop the seconds hand, and assuming you're good at estimating your indices here, you can sync it up to a reference time. So at center, notice we have this violet-hued fired steel hand. That hand usually signifies some sort of timekeeping refinement inside the watch, often a double hairspring, so we shall see. Now the hands themselves are faceted feuille or leaf style hands, and they contrast beautifully with the dial base, so no issues there. Reading the time, as long as you have a good imagination for indices, not a problem. This is what Moser calls a concept dial, which means there's no printing, no Swiss made notation, no branding, no indices, nothing. Very clean. And then you could see we have a dial base that's made of gold with this hammered-like texture, a little bit like the peel of an orange is how I would describe it. And then you have up to 12 applications of glass, and there are several different pigments of glass, at least 3 distinct, that are used to create this gradient fade or fumé, smoke, from light at the center to dark at the edge. That's a Moser styling trait that is instantly recognizable, and it's why this watch with no branding is still obviously a Moser. You can also appreciate that it has a glassy, smooth surface. It is difficult to make smooth, glassy enamel. Even though enamel is quite literally a glass-based or vitreous paint, it tends to wind up with the texture of chalk, with ridges, rough patches, and irregularities. This is perfect. So what happens is you start with that gold base, and then those 12 applications take place. It goes into an oven where it's cooked at up to 800 degrees Celsius, and at any point it can crack, pop, or explode, so enamel's difficult to do, and of course enamel this fine and nuanced even tougher. To make it translucent to show the substrate, that's another form of refinement. So I teased a horological upgrade, and here it is. You can see the blue balance bridge signifying that this is a double hairspring watch. Now Moser's very interesting. As a manufacturer, it does things that even other manufacturers don't. Zenith is a manufacturer. It doesn't make its own hairsprings, same with Jaeger-LeCoultre, but Moser makes its own hairsprings, its own balance, and its own escapement through its precision engineering subsidiary, so it's making the tough parts of the watch. What it's found is that if you take 2 identical flat hairsprings and imagine them being aligned, now you move them out of phase 180 degrees. Since they are physically identical but exactly opposite, when gravity causes one to run slow, the other, by an equal and opposite margin, will speed up, which allows this watch to cancel out the effect of gravity in any position instantly. You can also see Moser's balance is an aerodynamic recessed bolt free-sprung balance. So the full balance bridge and the free-sprung balance, making it very shock tolerant, but removing the timing screws from the free airstream, even reducing the tiny parasitic effects of aerodynamic drag on the timing. The watch uses a bidirectional pawl-based winding system similar to magic lever to energize a 72-hour power reserve. It beats away at 3 Hertz. It all pivots on 27 joules. You can see at center, the rotor bearings, or actually the ball bearings themselves, are made of ceramic for higher efficiency. We have a rotor that includes snailing, media blast, and beveling, solarization on the bearing at center, double-crested Côte de Genève on the bridges, mirror-polished screws, engine turning on the base plate, and then a clean bevel. It is a machined bevel on the bridges, but it's a very cleanly and attractively applied one. You can also see that the stud holders for the hairspring have been mirror finished, and that the bridge below the balance bridge, the bridge for the escapement, that too has been satinated and beveled. All of this 30 meters water resistant, one of my favorite Mosers of all time. Stuff like this really is the reason I love Moser as much as I do. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.